Welcome to Pirate Skills, this time about sneaky idea validation and why I never start coding before I have 1000 subs. Today it's so simple to just create a user journey where people click on an ad for you, land on a beautiful landing page that you can A/B test and optimize for mobile and desktop, introduce them to a customer development survey that really answer your critical hypotheses before you make a big commitment and start developing your product seriously. And I want to share this sneaky idea validation process with the most up-to-date frameworks that we are using, with the example of HabitUp, my up-and-coming startup that we will see thrive or fail. We don't know yet. In essence, like where did this come from? I used to run this app incubator with Arne Horn. It was the first funded startup I was involved in. And what we pitched was, how about you're not investing in a single app, but in a company that systematically creates successful apps? And what we did, we created over a period of 2 years, over 150 landing pages and customer development surveys. And each of those ideas got a certain budget, starting at 100 euro, then 200, then 500 euro. And we had a rule to never start actually to code the mobile app before we had 1000 subscribers. We got really picky about the idea we actually executed in the end. Those 150 ideas actually came from a pool of 500 ideas at least. Those 150 got a landing page. Most of those got a survey at the end, and only 6 of those actually made it to a real mobile app. 2 of those mobile apps had over 1 million users. So there has to be something working quite well in this system. And it's just 3 simple steps. You set up an ad campaign that explains your idea, or that symbolizes it or intrigues people to click and invite them to come to the landing page. You build a landing page where you can be either very shortly describing your idea, or in a more long form format. And then you invite people to participate in a survey. And the survey participation actually is like your indicator of how interested people are. And if you have 10 ideas, I can guarantee you, if you invest 100 euro or 1000 euro in each of those ideas, with this idea validation system, you will get significantly different results for each of those ideas. And it's more different than you would expect. So let's dive into a Miro board where I explained all of this good stuff in detail. And we're going to build on what we did in the past with the evil content plan, where you already get a little preview of this customer journey and the core message that we are trying to validate in this test that we start running here. And in the upcoming events, we're going to explain exactly how we do the tracking on this, and how we drive the ads, and how we find the right advertising channel, and letting you watch over our shoulder, showing you the real results. But let's dig into the Miro board itself. So I actually going to do this on my iPad. If you want to follow along and capture this Miro board, just copy it, go to pirateskills.com/sneaky, and it's there for you for complete free to adapt for yourself. So let's move over to Miro. And what you see here is how I set up this method for myself. This is what you see when you open the Miro board. It's 3 phases. I prep everything that I can do before I actually start building the landing pages and surveys. I build the landing pages and surveys and ad campaigns and set up the tracking. And then I learn and record my insights and have some shortcuts to resources. But those are coming soon when we have arrived at that step in the evaluation of the survey. If we actually zoom out on this, you will see that, as always, I try to provide you guys with a template that you can just use and copy, that is clean, that explains the idea validation process in a bit more detail to you. And maybe this is a good start. Remember, the goal we are having here is we have this business idea, we have this startup idea, we have a variation of our current idea, we want to test a new audience. And now the question is, how do we get this with as much learning as possible for as little money as possible and as little time as possible? And I always have like 3 stages of idea validation in mind. The first and the simplest that everybody can easily start with is Facebook lead ads, Instagram and Facebook lead ads that capture the contact data of the interested people directly in Facebook and Instagram. And they end up in the survey directly after they submitted the contact data. And now they can answer your questions. And you might want to add a little email setup at the end so you can follow up and nurture those leads if you like to. Now, the next upgrade from that system is actually to put it on. I have a testing domain. You can see here that I have this domain name called myideas.com. This is where I do my tests, and I just have /idea name /HabitUp, for example. And I have people coming here from multiple sources because I'm not bound to this lead ad functionality. So I can also do Pinterest ads and Google search and YouTube ads if I like to. I can do TikTok ads. And they all join a landing page. This has the advantage that I have more time and more room to express the idea I want to validate. But it has a disadvantage of taking up more resources and time to actually build the landing page. And from there, I send people to the survey. And at the end of the survey, I usually invite people to a sign up. And you could have this the other way around. Yeah, that's no problem. Ask for the sign up first and then give them the survey. But in my experience, it has been a better result giving them the survey first, engaging them, and not putting them against a sign-up wall in the very beginning. It usually tends to result into just higher cost per acquisition. And the third level is to go completely on brand on a known domain. In this case, it can be yourdomain.com, and really build out your own way to present it, a unique style. Like on myideas.com, everything is pretty fixed. My analytics setup is done, but here I want to set it up custom for that specific idea. And I did that for HabitUp, and I want to share that process with you guys here. I have found that doing this usually takes like 2 weeks. Yeah, from, okay, I want to have this idea, to I've set up my landing page, the survey, the ads. They have run for a complete week. I've learned from those results. Just 2 weeks, and a minimum of 100 euro, a maximum of 1,000 euro. And I get so many insights that I feel, I always wonder, like, why do people sit in a co-working space for half a year, still coding or just building something, and they have not asked their customers if they actually care and want this product? If they could have just invested 1 or 2 weeks to set this kind of thing up to see whether enough people actually give a fuck. Let's step through the preparation and just look at this from the perspective of HabitUp, which you might be familiar with from the last meetup. So, but in any case, the first thing you need to do is to really figure out, like, what's your idea? And you need to be able to articulate that. For example, in the first step, I think about what's the clear value proposition I want to test, what are the audiences, what are the open critical assumptions that I want to be answered by the survey or by the user behavior, and what is my hypothesis for success? In depth, this looks like this. So with HabitUp, I'm trying to solve a problem. I want to build a company that helps people to build enduring habits that really level up their life. Yeah, I phrased it this way, and I want to know, is this a good phrasing or should I go another way? I also want to test this idea of the problem statement that we have, which is this one here. Yeah. We all know what to do, but we don't know how to get ourselves to do it. Does this resonate with people? It resonates with me, but I cannot just take my own word for it and my own feeling. That is a good indicator. but I want to see the data from outside. Is it really a way to go? And I want to see if people are actually interested in a portfolio company that develops tool in together with the community of people who want to build their own habits. Is this just a wishful thinking that I have? Or is this something that people would actually really demand? So that is the value proposition. That needs to be very clear. Now, who is this for? Yeah, this is very helpful when you decide who to target, how it should look like. And with HabitUp, I decided to not describe it just like in demographic data. I do this at a later stage when I talk about targeting. Yeah, and we do this in more detail when we talk about the advertising part of this. This is 2 meetups from now. I wanted to be open-minded about the demographic data and not sure if it's going to be more male or female based, or if it's older or younger people. We shall see about it. That is part of my critical assumptions that I still want to answer. What I do know is that the people I want to target, people who are highly interested in their own development, they might be familiar with journaling, and they have considered like consciously building healthy habits and getting rid of bad habits. And they might be reading books like Atomic Habits, and they might use certain apps like Streaks that help them to track their habits. But they also have a problem. They struggle to maintain their good habits, and they're actively seeking for solutions. Those people are the ones who would be interested in buying the products that we are developing. But I always make a lot of assumptions when having a completely new idea, and I want to be honest to myself. And as I learned from Richard Feynman, I'm the easiest one to fool. So I have to be absolutely honest, talk to people in my surroundings about this idea, and there will always come up certain questions and doubts. A couple of doubts that I have that I want to test with this survey. Do people believe that good habits actually help them to solve their problem or to reach their goal? Is there this link in their mind where they see, oh yeah, one leads to another? Just focusing on goals and productivity is not the only thing. I need to focus on forming my behavior. And do people, this is the second one, do people want a physical journal to support that habit building process? My first vision of a product is really like this physical journal that you can daily open up whenever you did your habit and see like, this was good, this was bad, this is what I want to change next time. That helps them to figure out which habits actually lead them to their goal in their own unique way. And do users want those multiple solutions? Or do they just want to get told like, this is the one solution, take it or leave it? Or do they want to participate in this? And I don't have to answer all of those questions, but if I'm not clear on the critical assumptions, I miss those when I build the customer development survey. And then I want to be not kidding myself on the results. So if I spend 500 euro, I expect 200 users to actually participate in the survey. Maybe not give me their email address, but it would be good to see 200 participations in the survey, and at least 100 people of those would like to stay and stick around and receive the newsletter to keep up to date. So that means like €2.50 per survey completion and €5 per email address. This is not a competitive result. Like, this is not what I would do once I have a scaling startup. I would be going for the €1 to €2 email subscription. But this is not about maximizing a scaling performance. This is about maximizing learning. And this is why my third hypothesis is not around the volume of people I collect, but if I put my critical assumptions into question on a Likert scale, let's say it's a scale from 0 to 5 or from 1 to 5, it should be like a 4 or 5. Yeah, if I ask them, do you think that habits lead to a higher chance of you reaching your goal on a scale from 1 to 5? It should be a 4 or 5 that they are answering in the affirmative. Yes, I believe. If I have this time I used a scale of 10, like from 1 to 10. It should be an 8, a 9, or a 10. Yeah. And that would be fine. So this is the first thing I do, and everybody can do this, no technical involvement done, and you should have done that anyways, while you have thought about your business model, your customer, and the problem you're trying to solve. Now I have to think about which of those three customer journeys I want to use to test my idea, and the one I chose here is the most complex one. Yeah, the one where I have my own domain, I go for full branding, I have my own survey, I have my sign up, I have a welcome series, I have some nurturing emails at the end that have the intentions of those people, for those of whom this is a good fit, that they can actually make a purchase in a couple of months. And since I saw the question, I built all of this in WordPress. Yeah, but you can use whatever you like Squarespace and Wix and Elementor on WordPress or Webflow. It's all up to you. And I've chosen 4 marketing channels. I'm starting with Instagram and Facebook, but I want to add on Pinterest and Google after a while. And in 2 live streams, I actually want to show you my methodologies, how, with a pretty tight budget, you can actually figure out which of those 4 channels are the best in terms of this idea validation method and generating people who are very interested in the idea. But people might tell me that it sucks. Yeah, but this is what I can do. Yeah, I got the domain habitup.com. I set it up all on there. So I figured that part out. Now, just some housekeeping points. If you, for example, would ask me to do the idea validation for you, which I actually do together with Christina, then we would ask you certain things like what kind of websites inspire you? What kind of designs do you like? And here, for example, you see here a screenshot from the HabitUp journals and the logo development. And I have to decide which types of fonts I want to use, like the text, yeah, how it's written, and the colors I'm using, whether or not I have just a monocolor theme or just one primary color, or in my case, 3 colors that I want to mix. Whether the theme is going to be more like a dark theme or a light theme. Those decisions can be easily made in the beginning and make it way easier for you. What's a bit harder is, how do you want to speak with your people? What is the text style? Are you tending more towards the informal end, which I'm doing for HabitUp? I want to say in German "du", not "sie". I want to be casual with them. Yeah, I want to be perceived as a reliable resource of this, but I don't want to be too formal. Like, I'm not selling insurance here. Even if I were selling insurance, I would tend to be more on the informal end. And then the second question I ask myself, do I want to do it pretty transparently by, for example, saying, even in the ad, this is a survey. We are looking for people to help us develop the perfect product for you. Or do I want to make it more smoke testy, where I say, we already got this journal up and running. Do you want to buy it? And people actually enter a purchase checkout. And at the end, I tell them, sorry, I don't have it. So on this scale, I can make differences in my tests. This case, I've chosen a pretty transparent one. I have very good results with those kind of tests, and I can highly recommend to be open, especially in the early stages of this. If you're further along, you have your solution already completely developed, there is no problem in doing a full smoke test. We ask people to check out, but then tell them, sorry, we aren't there yet, but we got this customer development survey. Do you want to participate? And then you have to make a decision, like, do you want to be neutral, just tell them what it is, or do you actually want to do it in a salesy, more convincing way? Do you want to actually persuade people, or do you want to keep it scientific in order not to accidentally entice people who might not be a good fit? I tend to be more on the convincing side of things. And then who am I talking to? Am I talking to beginners or experts about habit forming? And from the description of my audience, I told you that they are already interested in journaling. They might have read Atomic Habits. So they are not like studied psychologists or anything focused on that subject matter, but they are on leaning towards more knowledge about the topic. This is the text style. And of course, you want to be sure that you have like key assets at hand, like your logo. You maybe want to set up a little Google Drive that shows you how it looks. By the way, this is a mock-up of how the book looks like. So if I would have chosen to actually show the book, this could be a mock-up that I could have used. I've chosen not to show that in this test because I'm not even sure that people want the journal. Yeah, I first want to be open to what they actually want, but I'm asking questions about the journal. So this is the preparation. We've done this. This can be done weeks and months in advance. It shouldn't take you more than a day to actually decide what your idea is, which customer journey you want to build, and what the user experience is like for them. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of how to build this. And the building part actually consists of the landing page, the survey, the analytics setup, and the ad campaigns. And those two parts I want to highlight in the upcoming meetups. I've already set up this little widget for you. So if you're on the Miro board, you can just click on it and it leads you to the sinless analytics setup and track conversions without feeling icky meetup that we have aligned for you on the first Wednesday of April. So if you want to sign up for that, that's cool. If it's already past April 6th for you, then you can just go on the website and see the follow-up of this, where we actually dig into the details of the analytics setup, like how to get user consent properly, how to manage it, the tracking events through Google Tag Manager, how to set up your pixels, how to collect customer data in a way that is okay and put it, for example, in Google Sheets or some other way that you deem more data privacy friendly, and how to visualize your results in real time so you can improve your learning. Same goes for ad campaigns. That comes after that. So that's going to be the live stream in May, where we talk about how ads should be looking like, how to set up campaigns for these kinds of idea validations, how I structure my campaigns for such validations. So if you're into that, then keep on signing up here and subscribe to these channels, and we will keep you up to date with all of the latest progressions here on HabitUp, and as always with templates for you guys. Now we actually get to the landing page building. Yeah, this is actually what I like to start with, because the landing page forces me to clearly articulate the copy, the value proposition. It forces me to define the style that later informs the design of the survey and of the ads. And to me, there are like two types of landing pages. The first one is this one, the little short one. This is the complete landing page. It just has an icon, logo, which you actually don't have to have. You can use any icon that you have so far. Give it a name and give it a good value proposition. Build enduring habits that level up your life. Start the survey. And down here is the desktop version. If you want to check it out, it's at habitup.com/survey-1-short. Yeah. Actually named them friendly for you guys, but I will actually use this landing page in an A/B test, which I show you in the conversion optimization part of this series. And you might think like, Ben, what the hell? This is too simple. Will people actually participate? Yes, surprisingly they do. And even more surprisingly, it usually works better than more complex landing pages. But customers usually don't believe me. So let's just do that A/B test and see what comes out. And the version B, this is the long one. This is where we again have a desktop and a mobile version. Why do I stress this? Because from the traffic sources I've chosen, which is Instagram and Facebook, 99% of traffic will be mobile. So desktop needs to look nice enough, but what's really important is what's going on here. Yeah, let's wait until it's nice and sharp. So this is the mobile version of it. And it starts the same way as the ultra simple. Yeah, we have our main value proposition and the call to action at the top. And I tried to put the start survey call to action in a thumb-friendly area on the screen. And I tested on small devices like my iPhone mini and on bigger devices like Christina's iPhone, I think like 11 Pro-ish thing. Yeah. But then I just decide, okay, this is what's good. And then the next section is usually where I have a bit of a longer explainer of the value proposition. And this is where I test this hypothesis, this assumption that this is cool. Like we all know what to do, but we don't know how to get ourselves to do it. And I hope that people resonate with that, or that people do not tell me like this was the weirdest sentence I ever read. And I try to invite them to participate in this journey. Then I have a section of 3 value propositions that are like broken down. Like, do people believe in that habits are the way to goals? That we don't all need the thing. I want to go for a very experiment-driven approach to habit building. Do people like that? And do they want to build things together? Yeah, I told you about that. And those 3 segments can be just changed. Yeah, let me just switch to the desktop version. I think that's nicer to see for you guys. And I can switch those out. I can change this tagline here. I can change out these 3 with different ones and create an A/B test that then tells me, okay, they actually resonate more with this or that value proposition. I can tell you the most important part of this website is, again, the top, changing this value proposition. And what I write on that call to action, that is deciding more than anything else if people are going to click on start survey. And at the bottom, I just repeat my call to action, my value proposition from the top, ask them to start the survey, have my little contact data and privacy for legal purposes at the bottom. All right, that's what we got here. And people enter the survey. And at the end of the survey, of course, I want them to land on a thank you page. I also set this up here and ask them to stay in touch. I set up an Instagram account and see if people are going to follow. Is it very important that people follow? And will I track that how many people follow? No, I can care less, but it gives people something to do. It makes it more believable that something is actually happening here. And it's always weird when you submit a survey and there is just no way to engage properly. And Instagram and social media in general is one beautiful way to actually get that done. So if you want to check that one out, it's on the right. So somebody already asked, like, what do I use to build this with? I registered the domain habitup.com. I actually bought the whole slew of domains around HabitUp. This is one of the few domains that I bought. I think it cost me 180 euros, so it's pretty reasonable to buy a .com domain. I used to be okay with .co domains, for example, or different top-level domains. But if you have a topic that is reaching a pretty broad audience, you want to go for the .com. Yeah, and if you're just going German, go for the .de, that's fine, or whatever country you're in. But if you want to do international business, as I do, go for the .com. Anything else confuses people. Try to just spell a domain to a person and see what happens if you say .co. It will ask you, do you mean .com? Yeah, super annoying. I don't want this anymore. Then I put the URL of each of those landing pages. You just saw 2, the long and the short version, for my survey number 1, and I just give it a name behind pirateskills.com. I chose WordPress as my landing page tool, and I chose Oxygen Builder for my page builder. Other alternatives are tools like Elementor or completely different WordPress non-related tools like Webflow, Wix, and Squarespace that you can use. Or landing page specific tools like Instapage and Unbounce are also very good to do those idea validations, especially if you intend to do a lot of them. Yeah. I chose WordPress because I'm fucking gonna do this project and I want to have it set up for SEO. I want my WooCommerce store in here. I want it to be all ready to go. I've pre-validated this a couple of years ago, actually. It took me years to finally get to the point to do it. I'm committed. This is why I'm investing the time to set up my WordPress environment properly. Otherwise, I might have chosen something simpler or just have tested it on myideas.com, which is another WordPress environment, but that is already completely set up. And I chose WP Engine for my host. It's a WordPress specialized host that has extremely fast loading times and amazing customer support. If you want to host in Europe, my favorite would be rateboxes.io. They are also very high performance WordPress hosters, and they also provide you different services. So choose how you want to build this with. Mock up those landing pages. For me, using WordPress has become so easy that I mock up my landing pages in WordPress. And we have to remember the job that this landing page has to do. It doesn't have to sell. It has the job to get people to start the survey, nothing else. The ad has the job to create a click. The landing page has the job to get people to start the survey. And that leads us to the survey. I used a tool called Outgrow for that. There are many survey tools like Typeform, WP Forms, InvolveMe, SurveyMonkey, and my current favorite, Outgrow. Yeah, if I were more into B2C, I would probably prefer InvolveMe, more in B2B, a bit more Outgrow. They're all developing. You always have to keep on top of things and see what works best for you and what fits your budget. This one cost me €100 per month. But I'm not only doing this test, I have multiple tests running for customers for me, so it's worth it. Another reason I don't think it's a lot of money, in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to spend €1,000 for this ID validation test. If €100 is for a good survey tool, that's totally fair. I'm not running this test for months and months and months. I want to test it 4 to 8 weeks. And then I want to have clear answers and decide, I want to do this, I do not want to do this. So the question boils down to, what do I ask people? And how many questions can I ask? And what is allowed, what is not allowed? What is recommended, what not? Let's dig into those questions. The first questions is, to me, needs to be something that people can answer quickly, that they intuitively understand, that gets them interested, and that for me is like a validation that they are a good fit. So I ask, which areas of your life would you like to improve the most? That makes a lot of assumptions. People want to actually improve. Yes, if you don't want to improve, get out of here. Yeah, that's totally fine. I'm very curious what they would actually be interested in improving. And then from here, they can have multiple questions, or they can even answer their own. They can put in their own text in this field. Once they've answered that, how motivated are you to improve these areas of your life? I want to see high scores here. If people are not very motivated to solve a certain problem or to improve their life, why would they ever buy a product for it? How do you think you can achieve this improvement? I've never talked about the journal, neither on the landing page nor anywhere here, and this is the first time that I mentioned the journal. But there might be different solutions that I might be offering: books, coaching, therapy, workshops, journals, mobile apps, or something else. I don't want to frame them yet too much. Now I go for my first critical hypothesis. Do you believe that building habits has a strong impact on improving these areas of your life? If they don't believe it, then focusing on habits to help people achieve their goal is a fool's errand. And I don't care if the average is high. What I want to see that a substantial amount of people is in the 8, 9, and 10 segment. There can be a lot of people not giving a fuck, and a lot of people caring, and some people caring. And as long as I can isolate those people and I can find enough of those, I want to build something valuable for them. I do not have to serve the whole market like an Apple has to do. I'm totally cool with selling $1 million worth of habit improving products per year. And that is actually quite small. So which of these habits would improve your life the most? Now I'm starting to frame the habit thing. Yeah, we started with this, and now we are testing habits that are very high on my short list of focusing on. I want to create a generic journal that handles every habit, but then I might be developing journals like the exercising journal, like the sleeping journal, like the productivity journal, and so forth. And I want to see what people actually say themselves, what they are most interested in. Do you believe that reflecting on habits in a journal can help you improve? This is where I drop the journal bomb. I know that not all people are into journaling, but what is the percentage of people who actually score 8, 9, 10 here versus the people below? To see, is this journal approach even a thing? I really try to not push them towards that. I don't want to sell them on it. I want to see on a neutral basis, would they from or themselves actually tell me that they like it? Those were 6 questions. I usually do 8 to 12 questions, and here you can see 12 questions. Have you ever consciously built a new habit? This is a segue into a jump logic. So what you can do in surveys, if people say yes, you can ask them, oh, how well did that work? Building consciously a habit. And then ask them what was the hardest part of this? And what was the most helpful part of building that habit? And that gives me insights about the language they are using, how they are struggling, and they can give me resources, what was actually available for them in the past. But let's say they have never actually tried building a new habit. I can now lead them through the jump logic, just skip those questions, and lead them to the follow-up question, the last question that I ask in almost every survey. Are there any ideas you would like to share with us? And then I can, do some additional information, like, for example, what are you still missing or has particularly helped you change your life positively in long term? It gives people a chance to say negative and positive things. And I have made the observation that people love to answer questions like that. You might be saying who's going to answer those questions? I'm going to show you actually. Yeah. And once we get the results, of course, in an anonymized way. And here I've chosen that at the end, I want to capture the data. I want to tell them, thanks for joining the first of many surveys that should signify that I'm willing to let them participate in the future in the development of the products. We want to keep you updated about any progress on the habit tool development. Let's stay in touch. First name, email, consent, keep me in the loop. They can skip this, as you can see here, which might be an option I can remove to improve my opt-in rate. But what happens then? They land on the thank you page. This is where they land. And this is where I have my conversion tracking set up if they consented to be tracked. And this fires here. Oh yeah, people actually landed on this one. And this is a good kind of people. The people that don't make it here, you can try to avoid, dear Facebook. So that is the survey. If you want to check it out, go to pirateskills.com, outgrow.us/HabitUp-1. Don't spoil my results. So that's all you need in fundamentals. If you never plan to do ads for this and just spread it through Facebook groups and in your email list, you're done, you're finished. You don't need to do a lot of tracking. It's good enough. If you are in a B2B environment and you do not believe that you can get people through ads, set up the landing page and the survey and send people there through LinkedIn messages. No problem. Okay, and you can increase the probability that people will actually turn away by, for example, price testing or asking them actually commit to pre-ordering the product. So it's completely your decision whether you're going to do it like me in this specific scenario where you want to keep it pretty open, pretty problem focused, not yet solution driven, or you have this product and you want to test buyer commitment. All right, and as I already said, next time we are talking about the analytics setup that's behind this. This would just, go out of scope for this one, and I really want to take my time. As you know, this is my favorite topic. And of course, we want to take time to actually build the Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and Google Ads and whatever we want to test to actually show you how you can see what works better and what works worse. And by that time, we are ready to do the third part, the dashboard that shows us the results, the insights that we have gathered from the qualitative data, from the survey, plus the behavioral data from the advertising and the landing page observations and from tools like Google Analytics and other ones. Okay, that's it. Yeah. If you want to try this for yourself, just go here on pirateskills.com/sneaky. And if you tap on the title at the top, you can just duplicate this complete board, have it for yourself, and then use the left-hand side to fill it out for your specific needs. I hope this is helpful for you. It was an invaluable learning machine for myself and for the people who I set this up for. Yeah? And if you're interested in that, just send me a message and we can talk about that. What is a good fit for you? But as you can see, you can do all of this by yourself if you want to. That's the essence of sneaky idea validation. I really hope I could convince you to not make the mistake of coding and investing thousands of euros in months of your time before you not even have 1,000 people on a waiting list. If you're in B2B, 50 people are just as good as 1,000 end consumers. Yeah, you don't have to overdo it. And if you want to keep on learning about this stuff, just join us next time, April 6th, where we talk about an analytics setup that doesn't make you feel icky, that is built on top of the example that we built today, because it's very easy to comprehend and very representative for most things I see people want to track there in the real world. I hope you have enjoyed this, and I see you on April 6th again or in the next video. That's it for tonight. I really enjoyed it. Thank you all for coming, and I see you next time. Bye-bye.